Walking into a grocery store and seeing empty shelves is becoming the new normal. But what's coming next? It's far worse than most people realize. Food shortages are accelerating, and in just the last 3 months, prices have jumped 12%, with no sign of stopping. You grab your cart, expecting a routine shopping trip, but aisle after aisle, your go-to staples are either sold out or marked up beyond recognition. Sound familiar? Every week, more essentials are vanishing. And the worst part? Most shoppers don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. Global supply chains are buckling under the worst disruptions in 5 years. Container costs have tripled since December, and extreme weather is wiping out harvests worldwide. This isn't a short-term blip, it's a full-scale crisis that's already hitting your local stores. In this video, I'll expose the 10 grocery items that will be impossible to find before March 2025. These aren't just rumors. Every prediction is backed by industry data, supplier warnings, and real inventory reports. And wait until you hear about number 8. It's the one that completely caught me off guard. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which items to stock up on now before they disappear. And trust me, you won't believe what's about to happen to pasta supplies. Number 1, let's talk about peanut butter. If it's a staple in your household, brace yourself. Prices are about to skyrocket and shelves could empty fast. The U.S. peanut crop just suffered one of its worst seasons in decades. Georgia and Texas, which produce over 80% of America's peanuts, were hit by extreme droughts, decimating harvests. The latest USDA report confirms yields have plunged 42% compared to last year, and that's not even the worst part. Aflatoxin contamination, a dangerous toxin that forms in drought-stricken peanuts, is making things even worse, forcing suppliers to discard entire batches. Major brands like Jif and Skippy are already warning retailers about limited shipments through the summer. One farmer put it bluntly in a recent interview. "We've never seen peanut crops this weak. If it doesn't rain soon, next year could be even worse." This isn't just about shortages, it's about price hikes too. Peanut butter prices have already climbed 30% since December, and industry insiders say another 40% increase is likely by mid-March. So, what can you do if peanut butter is a must-have in your kitchen? Stock up now while you still can. Peanut butter has a long shelf life, making it one of the best foods to store. If you need an alternative, sunflower seed butter and almond butter are options, but their prices are rising fast as more shoppers make the switch. The situation won't last forever, but experts say it could take at least 6 to 8 months before peanut production stabilizes. If you wait too long, you might find yourself staring at empty shelves and paying double for your favorite spread. And peanut butter isn't the only pantry essential disappearing. Another kitchen staple is also on the brink of crisis. Number 2. Canned soups and broths, once a reliable backup meal, are becoming harder to find due to severe supply chain disruptions. A nationwide aluminum shortage, combined with skyrocketing production costs, is forcing major brands like Campbell's and Progresso to scale back operations. Grocery distributors report that order fulfillment rates have dropped below 60%, meaning stores are receiving far fewer shipments than expected. What does this mean for you? Some soup varieties have already been quietly discontinued, while others are being rationed to prioritize bestsellers. And it's not just about availability. Prices are creeping up as well, with some grocery chains already limiting bulk purchases. Just last week, one major retailer cut their soup and broth orders in half, warning that supply could dry up completely by mid-March. Your best bet? Stock up now before selection shrinks even further. Shelf-stable boxed broths are a solid alternative, but those are selling fast too. If you want to stay ahead of the shortage, powdered bouillon cubes and dehydrated soup mixes are excellent backups with long shelf lives. The peanut butter crisis is just the beginning. Don't wait until soup shelves are wiped out too. And if you think pantry staples are safe from shortages, think again. Number 3. Cooking wines and vinegars. Essential for marinades, sauces, and even homemade dressings are the next items disappearing fast. Global grape and apple harvests have collapsed, leading to severe shortages of red wine vinegar, balsamic, rice vinegar, and apple cider vinegar. California, which produces a huge share of the U.S. vinegar supply, just recorded its lowest grape yield in over a decade due to relentless droughts and unpredictable frosts. Meanwhile, Italy's Modena region, the heart of balsamic vinegar production, is facing an unprecedented crisis, with erratic weather wiping out vineyards that have stood for generations. And here's the part most shoppers don't realize. Vinegar isn't just used for cooking. It's a critical ingredient for pickling, fermentation, and even food preservation, meaning demand is surging just as supply is crumbling. Importers are already prioritizing major restaurant chains over grocery stores, which means home cooks will be the last to see shipments. Prices have already jumped 40% since January, and a recent distributor memo warned that by mid-March, store shelves may be wiped out entirely. I went searching for balsamic vinegar last week, only to find half the brands missing, and what was left had nearly doubled in price. A friend who manages a grocery department told me shipments are slowing to a trickle, with stores rationing inventory to avoid selling out too fast. So what's your move? Stock up now before selection disappears. White vinegar is still widely available and can be infused with herbs or fruit as a DIY substitute. But if you wait too long, you might find yourself paying luxury prices for something as basic as salad dressing. Now let's talk about number 4, butter and heavy cream, essentials in everything from morning coffee to holiday baking. Bad news for dairy lovers. These staples are in serious trouble. Recent reports from the dairy industry show cream production has dropped by 30%, and the ripple effects are already hitting grocery stores. The biggest issue? Skyrocketing cattle feed prices are forcing dairy farmers to cut herd sizes or exit the business entirely. Fewer cows mean less milk, less cream, and ultimately less butter. And it's not just one region, this is a global problem. Dairy farms across the US, Europe, and Australia are all facing record-high operating costs, leading to reduced production. One farmer put it bluntly, "We just can't afford to keep going at this rate. It's either raise prices or shut down." Meanwhile, extreme weather patterns are making things worse. Heat waves and droughts have reduced grazing pastures, forcing farmers to spend more on feed just to keep their cows alive. What does this mean for you? Prices are already climbing, and grocery chains are starting to limit bulk butter purchases to prevent shortages. Just last week, one major distributor cut their cream supply orders by 50%, warning that many stores won't be restocked until late spring. And if you're wondering about alternatives, those aren't safe either. Plant-based butter and cream substitutes are facing ingredient shortages, with oat and almond production hit hard by droughts. If you rely on butter or heavy cream for cooking, now is the time to act. Butter can be frozen for months without losing quality, so stock up while you can. For cream-based recipes, consider shelf-stable whipping cream powder or canned coconut cream as substitutes. But don't wait too long. The dairy crisis is just beginning, and prices will only go up from here. Number 5. Spices and seasoning. Let's talk about spices, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your favorite seasonings might soon be out of reach. The global spice trade is facing its worst crisis in years, with climate disasters, supply chain gridlock, and skyrocketing demand all colliding at once. Droughts in India, Madagascar, and Sri Lanka, the world's biggest spice-producing regions, have slashed yields of essentials like cinnamon, turmeric, vanilla, and cardamom. Meanwhile, a massive shipping backlog in the Suez Canal has delayed spice imports by weeks, leaving store shelves half-stocked and prices soaring. And this isn't just a temporary setback. Many crops won't recover for years. Vanilla farmers in Madagascar are reporting record low yields, while Sri Lanka's cinnamon exports have dropped by nearly 40% due to extreme weather and labor shortages. One supplier put it plainly, "We've never had this much trouble moving spices from farm to market. It's a logistical nightmare." The result? Prices for premium spices have already jumped 30%, and some stores are quietly limiting bulk purchases to keep inventory from vanishing too quickly. The worst shortages will hit high-demand spices first, like black pepper, nutmeg, and cumin, staples in almost every kitchen. Specialty blends and organic options already disappearing. A friend who runs a spice shop told me they're seeing suppliers cut shipments by half and are struggling to source fresh stock. So what's your move? Buy in bulk now before prices double. Local ethnic markets and online spice suppliers often have stock when major grocery stores run dry. And don't forget, properly stored spices can last years without losing flavor. If you wait too long, you could be staring at empty shelves and paying premium prices for something as simple as salt and pepper. Number 6. Bottled water and sports drinks. Why is bottled water disappearing so fast? Imagine heading to your usual grocery store expecting to grab a case of water or your go-to sports drink, only to find an empty shelf. A small sign reads, "Temporarily out of stock." You scan the aisle in confusion. Water, the most basic necessity, is suddenly scarce and expensive. You might wonder, did I miss something? What's causing this? And more importantly, how bad is it going to get? The US is facing one of the worst bottled water shortages in recent history, and it's impacting everything from grocery aisles to emergency preparedness supplies. The cause? A perfect storm of severe droughts, water restrictions, and a global plastic shortage that has crippled production. Several states, including California, Arizona, and Nevada, have tightened water regulations, forcing bottling plants to scale back production or shut down entirely. At the same time, the supply chain for plastic bottles, already stretched thin by rising oil prices and manufacturing delays, is creating even more bottlenecks, making it harder than ever to get products to store shelves. And it's not just water. Sports drinks are vanishing too. Major brands like Gatorade and Powerade are cutting back production as manufacturers struggle to keep up. One distributor recently admitted, "We're seeing orders slashed by 50%, and we have no timeline for when supplies will normalize." Some grocery chains have already started rationing bottled drinks, while others warn that stock could run dry by mid-March. So what can you do? Now is the time to prepare. If you rely on bottled water, invest in a high-quality water filter before shortages get worse. For sports drinks, electrolyte powders and hydration tablets are great alternatives with longer shelf lives. But don't wait too long. Once panic buying starts, it'll be too late. Number 7. Canned tuna and sardines. Remember when canned tuna was an easy, affordable protein option? Those days are numbered. By spring 2025, canned tuna and sardines could become luxury items, and here's why. Global fish stocks are in crisis mode, with severe disruptions across major fishing regions. The Pacific and Indian Oceans, which supply the bulk of the world's tuna, are experiencing record-low fish populations. Just last month, several key fishing zones imposed emergency restrictions, cutting available supply by nearly 40% to prevent overfishing. But the problem doesn't stop there. Warmer ocean temperatures and shifting migration patterns have made traditional fishing routes nearly useless. Many fleets are coming back half-empty, while fuel costs have skyrocketed, making long-distance hauls even less profitable. A distributor I spoke with told me, "We're already getting warnings that bulk tuna packs will be unavailable in many stores by mid-March." Sardines, which many consumers turn to as a tuna alternative, are facing similar shortages due to disrupted spawning cycles. What does this mean for your pantry? Canned tuna prices are set to soar, with some projections doubling the cost by mid-year. One major grocery chain is already cutting shelf space for tuna by 30% and prioritizing other protein options instead. Your best bet? Stock up now while prices are still reasonable. Canned mackerel and salmon are good alternatives, but expect those to get hit with price increases too. If you wait too long, you could be looking at empty shelves and 5 cans of tuna before summer even begins. Number 8. Pasta and noodles. This is the one I warned you about. If you think pasta will always be there when you need it, think again. Because by the end of March, your favorite noodles could be completely wiped from store shelves. Imagine craving a simple bowl of spaghetti, heading to the store, and bam! The pasta aisle is half empty. Prices have surged overnight, and what's left? Smaller packages, unfamiliar brands, and price tags that make you do a double take. This isn't just a temporary blip, it's the start of a major pasta shortage that's about to hit hard. So what's going on? A global wheat crisis is at the center of it all. Italy, one of the world's biggest pasta producers, saw wheat yields plummet by 20% after back-to-back droughts. Meanwhile, Canada, the leading exporter of durum wheat, the key ingredient in pasta, is battling another year of severe drought. Farmers are warning that harvests are shrinking fast, and with demand soaring worldwide, pasta production is grinding to a halt. Some brands have already shrunk package sizes, hoping you won't notice that you're paying more for less. And the bad news doesn't stop there. Supply chain slowdowns are adding even more pressure. The same import restrictions and shipping delays affecting other pantry staples are now slamming pasta factories. Just last week, a major grocery distributor slashed pasta shipments by nearly 40%, warning retailers that supplies will remain tight through summer. One grocery insider told me, "We're already struggling to keep shelves stocked, and it's only getting worse." So what's your best move? Stock up now. Your favorite brands won't last at these prices. If you need an alternative, consider rice noodles, chickpea pasta, or lentil-based options, but don't assume they'll stay cheap either. As more shoppers scramble for substitutes, those prices will skyrocket too. If you wait, you could be looking at triple the cost, or worse, completely empty shelves. Number 9. Honey. Next up is a shortage that's going to sting, literally. If you use honey for tea, baking, or natural remedies, brace yourself. Supplies are collapsing fast. Remember when you could grab a jar of raw honey from any grocery shelf without a second thought? Those days are slipping away. Beekeepers are reporting devastating colony losses, and honey production is at its lowest point in years. The culprit? A perfect storm of climate disasters, disease outbreaks, and dwindling bee populations has thrown the entire honey industry into crisis. So what's vanishing first? Raw and organic honey will be hit the hardest as independent beekeepers struggle to keep up with demand. A nationwide outbreak of the deadly Varroa mite has wiped out over 35% of U.S. honeybee colonies in the past year alone. Meanwhile, extreme weather, record-breaking heat waves, and unexpected frosts has slashed nectar supplies, starving surviving bees and cutting honey yields by nearly half. One major honey distributor warned that bulk shipments are already delayed until mid-2025, and grocery chains are scrambling to secure inventory before the shortage worsens. What's your best move? Stock up now. Honey has an indefinite shelf life, making it one of the smartest pantry staples to buy ahead of time. If you wait, expect skyrocketing prices and empty shelves. Consider buying from local beekeepers who may still have limited stock before the crisis deepens. Don't be surprised if, by next month, a single jar costs twice as much, or worse, isn't available at all. Number 10. Frozen vegetables. Let's talk about frozen vegetables. They're disappearing fast and supply isn't keeping up. Remember when you could grab a bag of mixed veggies without a second thought? Those days are coming to an end. Major frozen food suppliers are struggling to keep shelves stocked, and experts warn that things will only get worse in the coming months. Corn, peas, and spinach are being hit the hardest. Labor shortages at processing plants have slowed production to a crawl, while unpredictable weather patterns have slashed fresh vegetable yields. Some major food distributors have already cut shipments by nearly 50%, prioritizing large commercial buyers over grocery stores. A supplier told retailers last week, expect serious delays. Inventory just isn't there. And it's not just standard frozen vegetables. Pre-cut and steamable options are among the first to go. With demand for convenience foods soaring, brands can't keep up, and many are quietly pulling less popular products from production. If you rely on frozen vegetables, now is the time to stock up. Buying fresh and freezing them yourself is a smart move, but don't wait. Once word spreads, shelves will be empty before you know it. And there you have it. The 10 grocery items already disappearing, and by the end of March, they could be completely wiped from store shelves. From peanut butter and pasta to coffee, honey, and frozen vegetables, these shortages are hitting harder and faster than most people realize. This isn't about fear, it's about staying ahead of the curve. If any of these are staples in your home, now is the time to stock up before prices soar even higher. Where possible, explore alternatives and be strategic with your purchases. The reality is, supply chains will recover, but not overnight. A little preparation now can save you frustration, wasted trips to the store, and a whole lot of money in the months ahead. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on critical shortages and smart shopping strategies. And let me know in the comments, what items are already disappearing in your area? Stay sharp, shop wisely, and I'll see you in the next video.